Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiditam Kalma Shapaham Shravanamangalam Shri Madatatam Bhuvi Grinanti Je Bhurida Janaha. Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourses with his intimate devotees in the house of Girish Chandra Ghosh, a renowned householder devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, residing in North Kolkata, where Sri Ramakrishna went on February 1885 on his way to witness his 25th February 1885 on his way to witness a drama Vishaketu in Star Theatre. Let us recapitulate the salient point discussed in our last several classes. Sri Ramakrishna was very emphatic in pointing out to us that we must be goal oriented. This is incidentally the keynote of the modern management courses. In the management it is taught, the most important thing in management is to earmark the goal and remain always goal oriented. The reason for our failure is we set the goal, but later on we become careless about the goal. We get involved in so many other things. So now Sri Ramakrishna was very particular in earmarking the ultimate goal of life in whatever station we are. For every human being, he has earmarked a common universal goal, and that is realization of God. Now, in the olden days, it used to be thought that it is a fantastic idea. It is meant for only the rare few people who retired in the forest or Himalayas and spent their life in spiritual pursuits. It was like this before, but after the advent of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, they have made it easily available for all human beings, mostly the householder devotees. In this congregation, they are mostly the householder devotees because he was holding the discourse in a house of a devotee, not in a monastery. He came all the way to Calcutta and holding the discourse in his monastery, not in monastery, in householder devotees, and inviting other householders to participate in this discussion. So when the question arose that how the devotees who are engaged in various household duties and assignments can realize God, because they cannot devote full time. They can devote only a part time for pursuit of God. So the advice Sri Ramakrishna says, very simple. He is too simple to believe. That is the difficulty. We wish very complicated prescription, otherwise we are not satisfied, because our mind is complicated. But he is a simple person giving the simplest advice. His advice to Atul Ghosh. Atul Ghosh was the barrister in Calcutta High Court. He is neither a monk nor a very highly spiritual oriented person. Even for him, he is saying, it is even possible for you. तुम्हारा लिए भी होगा. तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? यो करो, वो करो. इसको भी करो, उसको भी करो. अर्थात do whatever you are doing in your professional life, continue, and at the same time call on God. But now he is doing only one thing, his professional practice. Something has to be augmented, added. Then only the goal will be fulfilled. This addition, this modification is necessary in our life. Incidentally, this is the prescription given by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Many of you must have read the Bhagavad Gita, or seen it at least. It's an enormous book having 18 chapters, there 700 slokas, and it is difficult to find out what is the central message. The huge message has been given, 18 yogas. Fortunately, the great saints and seers have earmarked only one verse of the Bhagavad Gita as its central message. The central message of Bhagavad Gita is given in verse 7, chapter 8, 8:7. There, Sri Krishna says to Arjuna the gist of his message: Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha mayarpita manobuddhir mameva eshyasi asamshayam. All you have to do is go on doing your work, whatever you are doing. He is not saying to you, give up your work. But at the same time, keep a portion of your mind attached to God. सर्वेषु कालेषु सदैव करना है. सदैव मेरा अनुस्मरण करो और तुम्हारा जो कर्तव्य कर्म वो पूर्ण करो. He has not said that you change your profession. Whatever duty you are doing, it has been thing that is given by God to you to fulfill. Do that to your utmost capacity, with all sincerity, without any compromise. At the same time, keep a portion of your mind engaged in God. So we have got in a faculty, like we have a physical body, but the real operator within our system is our mind. Physical body must be fit, it encases the mind. So all we are depends on the efficiency of our mind. And the mind is concentrated, then we achieve success in life. Swami Vivekananda says, the secret of success in life is concentration of mind. Never forget this word. Our success depends to the degree we are able to concentrate our mind. We may be going through a laptop, reading books, but mind is hovering somewhere else, then the efficiency is truncated. But if your entire mind is concentrated to one particular point, then tremendous power is evolved. You can achieve anything. Mind has enormous power, infinite power. But the power is latent, potential. It has to be made active, kinetic. How to do that? By engaging the mind, engaging the thought with God. So remain, now the question was asked, mind is one, if the mind is engaged in work, how a portion of the mind can be devoted to God? The reply is given, when we have a toothache, you have a toothache. Now, during the toothache, a portion of your mind is always attached at the root of the tooth where it is aching. But nevertheless, you are continuing your work all the time. So, mind has a capacity to be partitioned. So, partition the mind, and because you cannot work all the time. As long as you are working, do your work with sincerity, but your mind should be attached to God. Then your mind is attached to God and your buddhi, intellect, is attached to your work. You cannot work without your engagement of your intelligence. So we have got 4 faculties, man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. Mind, intellect, our memory and our ego. If all these forces are integrated, then the work what we are doing will become 100% successful. See, in order to be successful in this life and hereafter, Sri Krishna's advice is always remain engaged in your work and thought of God. Never be without work. Sometimes we relax, we have no time available for wastage. Every moment of the life is precious, golden. Please remember, this life is very precious. Every moment should be utilized in a constant remembrance of God and continuously do some work. Get involved in some work. Work is very, very pure. Work makes our life divine. So, in this attitude, you can engage your mind and body, you will become successful. What Sri Ramakrishna is saying? You do this and do that. Think of God and do your work. When a person was present there, he was telling that he is from a Brahmin community. Is it possible for non-Brahmins? In those days also there was a lot of Jat-Pat. That community feeling, caste feeling. Sri Ramakrishna says, why not? There have been enough instances where people born of lower background have excelled in life, like Shabari, Ravidas and Guhak Chandal. He gives 3 examples here. We have already discussed at length the life of Shabari, the woman who was born of a hunter community. She was very ugly and she was illiterate. The story goes, in her previous life, she was extremely beautiful and came from an affluent family, and she wanted to realize God. But wherever she went, the monks and the holy people, they rejected her. They say that you are so beautiful, you are not allowed to come in our congregation. You go away. So that beauty became a problem for her. Her affluence became a problem for her. She went to Prayag, the sadhu sang, but she was banished. So she prayed that next birth I must be born without any beauty and no literacy. So she was born as Sabari, but she was very devoted to God, and her guru said, you need not go anywhere. God will come to you if you call on Him. So Shabari continued to call on God, and हम जानते हैं कि रामचंद्र जी को चलकर उसको आश्रम में आना पड़ा. She did not go anywhere. Sri Ramakrishna gives this example. Then we discussed several days about Ruidas. Ruidas was a much recent history. 400 years ago, he was born in Banaras, near Banaras, and he was a cobbler, chamar. चमार रहते हुए ईश्वर के साथ सदैव संयुक्त रहें. उनका जो भाषण, उनका जो दर्शन, उनको कहना है भगवान तुम्हारा साथ है, उनको पुकारो, कहीं जाने का ज़रूरत नहीं है, तुम सदैव भगवान के साथ युक्त रहो. डू वॉट एवर यू आर वर्किंग. इवन आफ्टर रियलाइजेशन ऑफ गॉड, Ruidas never left his profession. He said, I will continue to make shoes till the last day of my life. And that's what he did. He remained as a chamar to illustrate that profession is not an impediment for God realization. Wherever we are, we can realize God. And the third example Sri Ramakrishna gives is Guhak Chandal, which appears in the Ramayana. We know when Sri Ramchandra was banished for Banavas, so then while going, he came from Ajodha, and on his way he had to cross the river Ganga. You know, the area is Singavelpur. Those of you who have gone beyond Raebareli, there is one Manikpur Gadi. I went there. The beautiful expansion of Ganga where Sri Ramakrishna crossed the river. So up to from Ajodha he came there on foot with Lakshmana, Sita and whole retinue of Ajodha Vasi. They came on foot. But there Sri Ramakrishna bid goodbye to those who followed him. He said, you go back to Ajodha, now I have to go on my way to the destination. So while crossing the river, he wanted a boatman, Kebat. हम जानते हैं कि प्रसिद्ध केवट का प्रसंग आते हैं रामचरितमानस में, वाल्मीकि रामायण में, अध्यात्म रामायण में. It is worth recounting. Now obviously the Kebat, those who ply the boats, they come from a lower origin people, Nishad. He was Nishad Raj, Guhak. Now Guhak became the friend of Sri Ramachandra. Sri Ramachandra requested him to bring his boat and allow to cross the river with his wife and brother, Sita and Lakshmana only. And he left all the people behind. But this Kevat first said that kindly do not advise me to do that because you are a dangerous person. He said, why? Because I have heard that you have touched a stone and the stone became a human being. Now we know the story that Ahilya was cursed and she became back to her original life by the touch of Sri Ramakrishna. She became a stone. Said, I have heard that you have the power to convert a stone to living beings, and I have only this boat made of timber, and timber is not so strong as stone. If it becomes alive, then how can I live my living? So Sri Ramachandra said, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to convert your boat into a human being. Go ahead. Then it was the submission of pure love. And he says that I will allow you to cross the boat, but I will not take any fees for my services and make it free. Sri Ramachandra said, it is not possible. I do not accept any service without paying. Why should I remain indebted to you? He said, then I will not do it. My service will be totally free to you because I love you. Now, this is the condition of pure love. You have to understand what is the difference between the passion and love. We often get deluded and think of passion as love. Passion is kama, love is prema. The difference between kama and prema is this, that in prema there is no motive behind. We don't want anything in return. Whereas kama, there is always, there is some want hidden with my attitude. I want to love you because I want something in return. Pure love does not know any return. This is first condition. Pure love, Swami Vivekananda says, is an equilateral triangle. Samakon Tribhuj. In geometry, there are various sizes of bilateral, equilateral. Equilateral means all the angles are same, 60 degrees each. Total makes 180 degrees. So in this equilateral triangle, there are 3 arms, 3 bhuj. All the arms will be equal. In bilateral, the 2 arms will be longer, 1 arm will be shorter. So the prema is like an equilateral triangle where the 3 arms are, number 1 is without any motive, motiveless. Wherever there is any return hidden, अगर वो छिपा हुआ कुछ मतलब है, वहाँ पर प्रेम नहीं होगा, काम होगा. Now, this is one arm. So, Guhak Chandal had that pure love. So, he didn't want to offer his services wanting something in return. Is this pure? No. That should be the attitude. So, when you do something without any return, what we get? The question is there because nowadays we are always calculating. Why should I waste my time? If I do something without apparently getting in return, then the time is wasted? No. The time is gained to the maximum because the joy, the happiness, the satisfaction derived by pure love, by doing some service without any return, the return is maximum. It gives unspeakable joy. This joy involved. सच्चा प्यार से जो आनंद होता है वो काम से नहीं मिलता है. The difference between kama and prema is enormous. Kama is short-lived. Kama is a reaction. Prema is not short-lived. The characteristics of pure love is, it is pratikshana bardhamanam. It is ever increasing. Whereas any worldly tie, however intimate it be, it ends in despair, in grief, because it is limited. Pure love is unlimited, anant hai. Wherever there is a limitation, it is bound to be frustrating, because we are infinite. We want infinite joy, infinite happiness. Infinite joy and infinite happiness cannot be obtained by physical pleasure because our body is limited. With this physical limited body, we cannot aspire to have unlimited joy. It is bound to end up in frustration. So whatever physical pleasures we give, it is not prema, it is kama. It is bound to end somewhere giving us a frustration and despair. So our goal is to, why Sri Ramakrishna said, the goal of life is to love God and become blissful to the infinite degree, infinite bliss, infinite joy. So the equilateral triangle 1 is when we love something, we do something without any return. It can be to anyone. It need not be only to the opposite sex. You can love any person, you can do some service to any person. When you do something without any word, without any reward, then you become connected with God. When you do something with some selfish interest, it is called swartha, selfish work. When you do something without any selfish motive, it is called niswartha, unselfish work. Swami Vivekananda defines God as unselfishness. निस्वार्थता ही ईश्वर है. Unselfishness is God. We think God is something with 4 hands or 2 hands sitting here and there. Swami Vivekananda says you can feel the presence of God by doing something for others without any motive, without any selfish interest. That's why he says, they alone live who live for others, the rest are more dead than alive. So this unselfishness attitude takes us to God. And secondly, pure love makes us fearless. We become without any fear. That is the peculiar, this lakshana, sign of pure love. And thirdly, the pure love makes us superior than the beloved. We think that the beloved is dependent on me. The mother Jashoda is roaming here and there with some lump of butter and in search of Gopala. Now, someone said that your boy is the Lord of the universe. He doesn't care for your food. That Jashoda says, I don't care that. I know that he is dependent on me. If I do not feed him, he will be hungry. So that peculiar affection develops in pure love. It makes one having the superiority complex. Secondly, it makes one fearless. And thirdly, it doesn't want any return. So with these 3 arms in hand, Guhok Chandala approached Ramchandra. Ramchandra immediately understood that this is not an ordinary boatman. He was thoroughly conversed. He knew about Ramchandra's life. That's why he said that you have liberated Ahalya. You are a very great person. So I will be blessed if you kindly fulfill my demand. He said, I will bring the boat provided you fulfill my demand. What is your demand? My demand is you should allow your feet to be washed by me. देखिए, he didn't want anything else. He said, आपको पद सेवा करने के लिए मुझे अनुमति प्रदान करें. So first of all, he said in the Ramcharitmanas, छूअत शिला भई नारी सुहाई, पाहन तेना काट कठिनाई, तरनीय मुनि धरिनी होई जाई, बाट पराई मोरी नाव उड़ाई. आपको छूते ही पत्थर को शिला सुंदर स्त्री हो गई थी, जो अहिल्या का बारे में बताया. काट पत्थर से कठोर तो होता नहीं, मेरी नाव भी मुनि की स्त्री हो जाएगी और इसी प्रकार मेरी नाव उड़ जाएगी तो मैं लूट जाऊंगा. आपको ना पाट कर सकेंगे और मेरी रोजी मारी जाएगी. So his prayer was, पद कमल धोई चढ़ाई, नाव न नाथ उतराई चहूँ, मोही राम रावरी आन दशरथ सपत सब सची कहो. बरु तीर मारा हूँ लखनऊ पे, जब लगी ना पाए पखारी हो, तब लगी ना तुलसीदास नाथा, कृपाल पार उतारी हो। हे नाथ, मैं चरण कमल धोकर आप लोगों का नाव चढ़ा लूँगा, मैं आपसे कुछ उतराई नहीं चाहता। आई डोंट वांट एनी फीस फॉर द क्रॉसिंग ऑफ द बोट, इज़ कम्प्लीटली फ्री। मुझे आपकी दुहाई और दशरथ जी की सौगंध है, मैं सब सच सच कहता हूँ। लक्ष्मण भले ही मुझे तीर मारे, पर जब तक मैं पैरों की पखार न लूँगा, तब तक हे तुलसीदास के नाथ, हे कृपालु, मैं पार नहीं उतारूँगा। इज सच फियरलेस इज देयर। ही इज टॉकिंग विथ the prince of Raja Dasharath, but he is not afraid because he is his object of love. He knows that Sri Ramchandra has to agree to his demand. This sort of attitude should be there with a devotee. The devotee has the confidence that I have a total this control over my beloved. He is not afraid. Whatever he says, God has to obey. That sort of confidence comes. In the Vrindavan, Nanda Ghosh puts a bundle of timber on Sri Krishna's head, carry forward. He is not afraid because he loves God. God also loves us. So whatever the devotees say, God has to abide by. That sort of confidence must develop, and that sort of love must develop. And then what happens? Suni kebat ke bain prem lapete atapate bihase karunayana chitai janaki lakhnatan. केवट के प्रेम से लपेटे हुए अटपटे वचन सुनकर करुणा धाम श्री रामचंद्र जी जानकी जी और लक्ष्मण जी की ओर देखकर हंसे। कृपा के समुद्र श्री रामचंद्र जी केवट से मुस्कुराहट बोले, भाई तू वही कर जिसमें तेरी नाव न जाए, जल्दी पानी ला और पैर धो ले, देर हो रही है, पार उतर दे। कृपा सिंधु बोले मुस्काई, सोई करू जही तब नम जाई, बेगी अनुजल पाए पुखारो, होत विलंबु उतरहि पारू। The question may be asked that why Kevat asked to wash the feet of Sri Ramchandra. What is the big thing in washing the feet? Now we know that bhakti has 9 dimensions. इसको नवलक्षणा भक्ति कहा जाता है। 9 प्रकार से भगवान को पूजन किया जाता है, जो कि श्रीमद् भागवतम में कहा गया है, एवं अन्यत्र भी कहा गया, रामायण में भी है। श्रवणम कीर्तनम विष्णु स्मरणम पाद सेवनम अर्चनम दास वंदनम दास्यम सख्यम आत्म निवेदनम। 9 प्रकार का भक्ति का साधन है। श्रवण मतलब भगवान के बारे में सुनना, हियरिंग अबाउट गॉड। कीर्तन मीन्स सिंगिंग द ग्लोरी ऑफ गॉड। स्मरण मतलब रिमेम्बरेंस ऑफ गॉड। एवं 4th इज पाद सेवनम, दैट द worshipping the feet of God. Now, worshipping the feet of God is considered to be one great spiritual practice, because from feet of God the Ganges has emerged. Feet of God is source of purity, source of joy, source of confidence to devotees. So if we are concentrating at the feet of, see, whenever in our system, we know in our tradition, हम चरण वंदना करते हैं, चरण स्पर्श करते हैं, चरण छूते हैं। Why? Because the energy of the person is concentrated at his feet. When he touches the feet, then that energy is transferred from the elder person to the younger person. That's the genesis of a traditional exchange of greetings from a senior to a junior. We are very fortunate because our entire social customs are based on spiritual endeavor, spiritual direction. In the West, when they exchange their greetings, they shake hands. They never touch their feet. They don't know the background. But the original background is when we touch somebody's feet, then that energy gets transferred from the elder to the younger. That's why whenever we go to Devasthan, हम चरण स्पर्श करते हैं, चरण वंदना करते हैं. The Pada Sevanam is considered to be one of the greatest spiritual practice which kevats simply do. It doesn't involve any remembrance of God, our tapas or penance. Simple by this act of worshipping the feet of the divine, we gain tremendous spiritual energy, spiritual power. And when Kevat was allowed to do the washing of the feet, then he happily crossed them over. When they took them to the other side, in the side of the Allahabad, then naturally Ramchandra wanted to give him some reward. He is a Daya ka sagar hai. But he was not having any resources. Now, Sita ji was there and she was the reader of his mind. She is the goddess Lakshmi. Immediately she took away the ring, this Mahamullavan, उनका जो रिंग है वो अंगुल से उतार के रामचंद्र को दे दिया. And Ramchandra wanted to offer that $1 million ring to Kevat. But Kevat हाथ जोड़ के कहा, I will not accept it. See how much of renunciation this person had. He comes from a aborigine family, he is not a very wealthy person. His profession is that boatman. But he refused such a costly jewel given by Sri Ramchandra, and he upheld his saga of true love. So whenever we aspire to have true love, we must have that strength of that vairagya, renunciation. We must not be deluded by any hope of reward. That sort of greed should be there. I do not want anything. When we have that power, when we have that confidence, only when you are realized of your own strength, we must learn, be aware of our own inherent strength. We are not beggars here. We are the children of immortal bliss. That sort of self-respect, self-dignity should be there within every one of us. Unfortunately, being the prince of the emperor, we are behaving like beggars of the haggards. This is the tragedy of our life. Shrinvanta Vishve Amritasya Putraha. The rishis of yore is calling us, come all ye the children of immortal bliss. We are all children of immortal bliss. It is our birthright. We must demand our birthright from the Almighty instead of begging. Whatever we want will be automatically supplied. But that must be reflected by our attitude, by our conduct, by our behavior. Do not behave like tiny, puny beggars. Do not ask anything. Things will come automatically. Everything will be supplied by the nature. So all we have to do, we have to continue our duties to the utmost ability and remember God, think of divine, have some unselfish attitude, and the life will be divine, life will be fulfilled. We'll continue this program further in our next Sunday class. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampadhrita vigraham vai ईशावतारं परमेशमिड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। We close now with the chanting of the Lord. Please join with me. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Thank you.